Hey, this is Dr. Berry. Let's take a few minutes and discuss food coma. Have you ever had food coma? You know, after you eat lunch and then you could just literally lie down in the middle of the street and take a nap? That's food coma. Should you be worried about that? Is that a big deal, or is that just something that happens to everyone no matter what they eat? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Do you know someone who suffers from food coma, a friend or a relative? If so, please share this on their Facebook page, share it on their Instagram, their Twitter, send them a text message, and help me help them not suffer from food coma and the actual danger that eventually comes when you're having food coma. So let's talk about this. Now, first of all, let's get several theories out of the way that are silly and are not what's really causing this. First of all is tryptophan or tryptophan. This is a protein that's famously in turkey meat. And you've probably heard of this. And a lot of people think that's why after the big Thanksgiving or Christmas feast, you just want to lie down in the floor and take a nap. Tryptophan has nothing to do with this. There's more tryptophan in multiple other meats, like a big ribeye, than there is in a little slice of turkey meat. The tryptophan is not what's causing this. It has nothing to do with it, so don't believe that theory. The second theory I heard is that melatonin, somehow you eat something and it spikes your melatonin in the middle of the day, and that makes you sleepy. Now, for some people, taking a little melatonin at bedtime really helps them to get to sleep more easily. But even people, you know, if you take melatonin, it's not a knockout drug. It doesn't make you literally want to lie down in the middle of the street and take a nap. It doesn't work that way. It just helps you fall off to sleep more easily, and then stay asleep better. But it's very subtle. It's not like food coma at all. And so melatonin is not the cause of this. The third thing that I heard, which is, I don't, it's kind of the weirdest one of all, is that if you eat too much salad, that it will somehow overpower your gut bacteria with all the fiber in the salad, and then that somehow magically makes you sleepy. I'm not real sure how that is supposed to work, but that's not obviously the cause of food coma. So, what is the cause of food coma, and should you really worry about that as a warning sign that you may have some impending disease or something going on in your body? And so, what's causing this is insulin metabolism and probably insulin resistance. And I'm going to tell you later in this video what you should do to get this checked out to make sure that you don't have serious problems coming in the future. So, you've heard of insulin resistance, probably. And most people, if you know anything about it, you know that your liver and your muscles kind of get resistant. If you're eating too many carbs, you can get insulin resistance. But what a lot of people forget is, or don't know to start with, is that you can also have insulin resistance in your brain. You can have insulin resistance in your ovaries, right? And so there are lots of different places in your body that can become resistant to insulin if you're eating too many carbs. Food coma can also be called carb coma, okay? And so remember that, that's important because it's when you eat too many carbs, that's when you get food coma or carb coma. That's what's causing this, because what happens, you eat a lot of just simple starches or sugars or crap like that, your blood sugar starts to spike because of all the glucose coming into your system. Then your insulin level spikes to try to aggressively grab that blood sugar level and pull it back down to normal. But many times, if you're starting to get insulin resistant, it'll pull it too low. And then you'll get that low blood sugar, and then you're doing this after lunch when you're supposed to be paying attention in that meeting or that teleconference. You're like, oh my God, I could literally lean up against the wall and go to sleep right now. That's food coma. But you can also now know that it's carb coma. You'll never get this if you eat a big fatty lunch with no carbs, okay? And we'll talk about that in a second. So the level of food coma is different for different people, and it's directly related to how insulin resistant they are. And if you're going, wait a minute, insulin resistance, isn't that's like the next step right before you start getting pre-diabetic, right? That's right. You got it. So if you're getting food coma, you're getting carb coma. And if you're getting carb coma after you eat, you're eating too many carbs, number one. And number two, you may be developing insulin resistance if you don't already have it. So this is different in different people depending on how insulin resistant they are, okay? So if you just have a tiny bit of insulin resistance, then this may only happen to you at Thanksgiving or Christmas when you eat that huge carb feast with all the sides and the potatoes and the dressing and the gravy and the roll and the sweet potato casserole and then two pieces of dessert. That may be the only time you have carb coma or food coma. But if you're becoming more and more insulin resistant, you may have carb coma after you eat just a salad. And if that's the case, then we've got to talk about what you need to do, because if you're starting to get carb coma just after a small lunch and you're like, well, I didn't even eat that much, but I still feel like I'm going to pass out. I just need to lie down and take a nap. You're becoming insulin resistant and you need to do something. And so if you doubt what I'm saying here, here's a good experiment you can try. If you have carb coma or food coma right after lunch most days, then what I want you to do is to eat a zero carb lunch. Like go out and just have a big fat ribeye steak and no sides. Don't drink anything with sugar or sweetener in it. Just eat the big, and I mean eat to your stuff. Don't just eat a little bit. Eat into your stuff like you would be stuffed at Thanksgiving or Christmas, and then go back to work and watch food coma not happen to you. And then I want you to go, huh, so when I eat fat and protein, I don't have carb coma. But if I eat just a tiny sandwich that has bread, right, and then probably some ketchup too, I have terrible carb coma. That's a big sign that you're becoming insulin resistant and you need to back up on the carbs. But you also need to do the following. You need to go see your doctor and you need to get some lab work checked, and you need to get all your labs checked, but you definitely need to get an A1C, a C peptide, and a fasting insulin, because chances are you're starting to develop insulin resistance, and these labs will tease that out. Because a lot of times, if your doctor just checks a fasting glucose or blood sugar, even if you have significant insulin resistance, it'll still be normal. And so it can make the insulin resistance hide from your doctor and therefore from you. If you have even the tiniest bit of insulin resistance, you need to know about it right now, because you need to take steps to prevent yourself from ever becoming pre-diabetic and then ultimately a type 2 diabetic. This is a big deal. So if you're having carb coma or food coma after just a small snack that contains some carbs, that's a big indicator that you're becoming a pre-diabetic. I actually, back in my early 20s, when I was very athletic and very healthy, way before I started paleo, ancestral, low carb, keto, I would do this. I would eat a big lunch, and I've always been a big eater. And then I would get back to work, and I would just be like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna pass out. I need to take a nap." And I always just thought that was me. It was just normal for me. I didn't know that was a sign. But now looking back, I realized that was the train whistle blowing, telling me that the diabetic train was coming. But I didn't even know that because no one had ever told me that. And so now that I'm keto, I can eat the biggest lunch you can imagine, but it's either very low carb or zero carb. I have no carb coma whatsoever. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to watch others like it, please consider clicking that subscribe button. It's right down there, and right beside it is a little bell button. And if you'll click that, every time I get a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first to know. If my videos have had some small impact on your health and you'd like to help me to help others in my fight against diabetes and prediabetes and obesity and insulin resistance and all the nasty things that it causes, you can click on the Patreon link. It's right down below. You can sign up quickly and throw a buck or two my way to help me make more videos just like this one, so I can help your friends, your neighbors, and people you've never met. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.